We now join the following program.
Next on Channel 6 News, 5 people drowned in Oklahoma lakes this holiday weekend. The search continued at Lake Tenkiller today for one of those victims. There's still a number of foreigners coming to America looking for a better way of life, but these people eventually want to return to their homelands. And Channel 6 reporter Miles Saunders gives us a sky-high look at the National Skydiving Championships. Those stories, plus the weather and sports, are next.
Call 1+ Runaway.
Live, this is KOTV, Channel 6 News at 5:30 with Mary Grady, meteorologist Mike Anderson, and Bob Stevens Sports.
Good evening, I'm Mary Grady. 5 people drowned in separate accidents on Oklahoma lakes during the... No, an election isn't necessary to become president of the Philippines. The former vice president to the deposed of Irishmen yearned to cross the Atlantic. When we come back, a look at their story.
Sunday night at 10:30, right after the Channel 6 10 o'clock news.
Thousands of Irish immigrants caught their first glimpse of the Statue of Liberty. And some of the rain in the forecast. When we come back, a look at the weather.
Dan and Ann McDonald took their first step toward winning television's biggest cash payoff.
$1 million.
They conquered the chance of a lifetime bonus round with just seconds to spare.
O'Neal, you got it, O'Neal.
Now, will a single word turn them into instant millionaires, or will they lose to the challengers?
Good luck to you all. Let's get started.
Find out on the next $1 million chance of a lifetime.
Wouldn't it be nice after this weekend to have a little bit of rain to turn things nice and green
That
again?
would be nice. In fact, those southerly winds, like we were talking about yesterday, often pick up some storms, and we've got some heavy storms up to our north, so a chance for some rain maybe later this evening and tonight. In fact, we saw some clouds moving in across much of northeastern Oklahoma earlier this morning. That kept temperatures on the warm side. Here in Tulsa, we only dropped down to 79 degrees this morning, and with the clouds, it remained a little bit cooler than we thought. An afternoon high of 88 degrees.
All the way across the week, really. All right, thank you, Mike. In sports, deja vu at Wimbledon today for the Wunderkind. Bob Stevens will hopefully translate this into English about the winner and still English champion. Getting the check in the mail.
Tough break for Roger Maltby. He almost makes the 100-foot putt and then misses the little 2-footer.
Isn't that funny?
Back.
I mean, now that's choke. That's really choke right there.
So. Happened to all of us.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Coming up next, we'll have a bird's eye view of a sport that's gaining popularity with all age groups, and you don't really have to be a daredevil to be a part of it.
Clothing for Channel 6 News provided by Harold's.
We can see some heavy thunderstorms stretching from around Enid up to Wichita, then up to Kansas City. This is moving east-southeast, so we could see some rain, especially right along the Oklahoma-Kansas border later this evening and then tonight.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Finally this evening, for the past couple of weeks, the skies over Muskogee have been filled with skydivers. The National Skydiving Championships have drawn hundreds of enthusiasts from around the country once again this year. Many have watched in wonderment at scenes like yesterday's world record 100 skydiver link-up. Today, Miles Saunders went along and got a first-hand look at what it's all about.
Tandem jumping, it is called. A person with no experience whatsoever can free fall 10,000 feet the first time out of the plane. Professionals like Bill Booth call all the shots. After a 10-minute briefing called a jerk drop, the first-timer is just along for the ride. And oh, what a ride it is.
With Tandem, you can have this thrill without trusting yourself with your life. You can give your life to an expert, the same as when you get on a jet. You'd be a lot more nervous sitting at the controls of that jet for the first time than you are sitting in the passenger seat. And that's why a tandem jumper is a lot less nervous than a person who is kicked out the door of an airplane alone the first time.
It is proof of just how far parachuting has come in the last 15 years. Most of us are well equipped with visions of frightful jumps, hard landings, and broken ankles. That vision is largely linked to the roots of the skydiving craze in the U.S., the tough jumps made by American airborne troops in Europe in World War II. The old chutes gave quite a shock, as depicted in this scene from the 1977 movie, A Bridge Too Far.
paratroopers came back from World War II, some of them realized that jumping was fun. And they used military surplus parachutes. To make them work better, they modified them, put holes in them. And then they started developing parachutes. And along about 15 years ago, we came up with the ram air parachute that we'll be using now. And it's taken really 15 years of development to get the ram air to the point where it can handle 2 people like this.
Finally, it was time for me to go up and find out for myself if it really is as easy as we were told. The plane that would take us to 14,000 feet where we would jump is the same DC-3 that was used in World War II. With so many people with you, you never feel alone. Surprisingly, the fear I expected to envelop me as the jump drew nearer never came. It was indeed an adventure. The feeling was one of flying like a bird. Falling at 10,000 feet in 60 seconds couldn't have seemed more natural. And before I knew it, the chute was opened. We eased back in our harnesses for a smooth ride down. The landing was no more traumatic than jumping off of a chair.
So it's a pleasant sensation. It doesn't make you sick. It doesn't jerk you around. And the parachute opening, how would you describe that? Was it hard?
Just all of a sudden you slowed down.
Slowed down. Yeah, for tandem, we had to make it so you could take your grandmother. In other words, this is a parachute for the members of the general public.
Miles Saunders, Channel 6 News.
And next we'll see Miles with his grandmother, I'm sure.
There you go.
Yeah, and he came back in one piece, so it must have been fun. It must have been just like he said it was. That's our report for this evening. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight at 10. Coming up on Channel 6 News at 10. Ferdinand Marcos' right-hand man has failed in his bid to overthrow Corazon Aquino's Philippine government. Reporter Miles Saunders took a flying leap out of an airplane today. We'll tell you why. And sailors strut their stuff in New York on Liberty Weekend. Those stories plus local news, weather, and sports next on Channel 6 News at 10.
Sunday night at 10:30, right after the Channel 6.
Live, this is KOTV, Channel 6 News at 10, with Mary Grady, meteorologist Mike Anderson, and Bob Stevens Sports.
Good evening, I'm Mary Grady. The 1986 political season officially kicks off tomorrow. That's when candidates for county, state, legislative, and federal are behind the slaying of a 41-year-old Tulsa man. Larry Dean Nelson was found shot to death early Saturday morning. He was in his car behind the Tiki Lounge. Police say they don't have any suspects, but they do know that Nelson was in the lounge until 12:30 Saturday morning. Witnesses say that was the last time that he was seen alive. A world record 100 skydivers made a formation yesterday in Muskogee. Miles Saunders decided to get a first-hand experience in the sport today. We'll show you what happened when we come back. Like Miles had great weather for his jump today, but that may not be the case for anyone thinking about taking one tomorrow. Mike Anderson is up next with the work week forecast.
You're watching KOTV Channel 6 News, recognized as Oklahoma's best newscast at 10 p.m. by the Associated Press and now judged best newscast at 6 p.m. by the UPI.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gene Schumann.
Find out on the next $1 million chance of a lifetime.
Newhart's more than just a smooth talker.
And no wackada-wackada, bingity-bombity-boom, end of meeting.
It's more than sophisticated character.
Excuse our appearance, but they've just been out making angels in the mud.
It's more than just a bright outlook on life.
If I can't drive around in a convertible with the wind blowing in my hair, what's the point of having a head?
Newhart's more than all this.
Gotcha!
Much more. Newhart's funny.
Newhart, Monday at 8:30 on Channel 6.
There was some severe weather moving through not exactly our area, our viewing area a little earlier. Have things calmed down?
Off to the northwest, they have died down. Usually this time of year when the sun goes down, the storms sort of die out. They still continue out to our northwest, so we will have a chance for some rain later tonight. So we may get some nice beneficial rains. In fact, we saw a lot of clouds across the area today, and that kept temperatures rather mild this morning In fact, here in Tulsa, we only dropped down to 7. Tonight will be to the northwest of Tulsa, but it does look like we will have a slight chance for some rain here in Tulsa late tonight and then tomorrow morning. Now, our satellite picture shows those showers and thunderstorm weather during the rest of the week.
We can really use that rain.
Yeah, it hadn't rained here in a few weeks.
Yeah, and just a little sprinkle
Yeah.
always makes things just a touch greener.
That's right.
I like it. Thank you, Mike. Well, last year he wasn't even seeded. This year they ranked him number 4. And today he showed the number 1 ranked player that he's the best on grass. Bob Stevens is up next with the men's final at Wimbledon and the rest of the day's sports.
A pulse report from St. John Medical.
Wonder what they would be like together.
Probably not so good. Boris would be all over the court and run into her about half the time, and then Martine would probably beat him up.
It'd be interesting, that's for sure.
It would be.
All right, thank you, Bob. Sure. The weekend the term on liberty had special meaning to sailors who came to shore in the New York area. More on that when we come back.
Clothing for Channel 6 News provided by Harold's.
To expect from those unpredictable newlyweds.
I said, what's the one annoying thing?
KOTV Channel 6 News at 5 with Glenda Sylvie and Joe Webb.
There's good news to report.
Channel 6 News at 5 with meteorologist Tony Shelton's unique weather insights.
Your chances of getting rain, only about 20%.
Channel 6 News at 5. Sports with Bill Tegans, plus Anita Parvin's Healthcast featuring Dr. Red Duke.
But understand the importance of X-ray.
Glenda Sylvie and Joe Webb. Weekdays on KOTV Channel 6 News at 5. News and information for Green Country to use.
And here's Mike to tell us if we have a little bit of a chance for some showers.
Well, we made it through 4th of July weekend, dry but windy, but it looks like a chance of rain if we take a look. Wichita, then back to the west of Oklahoma City, slowly moving to the southeast. So again,
I wonder if that was done for the cameras. Most likely. That's our report for this evening. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here next weekend. Have a nice week.